So the dumbbell bench press is a great exercise to target the pecs. So when we go to do the dumbbell bench press, we want to try to kick the dumbbells up as we rock back into place, bring them up to a starting position, and then bring our feet down. And we want to make sure that we have a 5-point contact, which is going to be our head, our shoulders, our butt, and both of our feet. You'll notice that there's a little bit of an arch in my back, and that's just due to my biomechanics and how my body is built and the height of the bench. I'm not actively trying to arch my back, but just where my feet line up and how my back is positioned on the bench here, there's gonna naturally be a bit of an arch. So there's nothing to be overly concerned with when it comes to that. If I were to try to flatten my back, I would have to have my feet up on the bench, and in order to do that, but that's not the main goal here. So it's totally safe to have a slight arch. I'm not actively trying to arch my back, like that's me actively trying to create an arch. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just bringing my feet down, and there's a natural arch there. So don't get too hung up on that. As long as your shoulders are secure in place, you're gonna be totally safe and your back isn't being compromised at all from that position. So if we grab the dumbbells again, have the dumbbells on our thighs, we pop them back up, rock back down, elbows are fully extended. So to initiate the movement, I will bring the dumbbells down until they touch my actual pecs. So when I bring them down, I'm actually keeping a slight bend or a slight tuck in my elbows, I should say. And we're bringing those dumbbells down where they are actually pretty close to touching my pecs. And then to engage from there, we're gonna push the dumbbells back up. So the reason why I am actually keeping a tuck in my elbows, that's just gonna help protect my elbows and as well to my front delts. You know, a lot of people, when they come down, they'll have their palms a little bit more forward like that, and they'll flare their elbows and come down like this. Like, I feel the stretch in my delts way more in comparison to my chest, and it's not a good stretch. It doesn't feel good at all. So by tucking our elbows ever so slightly, that's what's going to allow you to get a good lengthened stretch in your actual pecs, and you're protecting your front delts a little bit more. So that's typically what I would do. It's not that you can't flare your elbows if you want, but me personally, I don't like it. It's not something I typically recommend for most people and their body types. So instead, tucking those elbows ever so slightly. You don't want them to tuck like where your palms are facing each other, just more of like a 45-degree angle. And that's what we want to focus on when we're doing the dumbbell chest press. Our breathing technique here, we want to focus on breathing in on the way down and breathing out on the way up. Breathing out when we're pushing up is what's going to allow us to generate that power that we want. Now, when we come up, when we are extending our elbows, we want to make sure that we're pushing the dumbbells forward, but we're not clinking them together. So make sure you're keeping the dumbbells nice and controlled on the way down, and then as well too on the way up, and making sure that those dumbbells aren't actually clinking together at the way up. So when you're finished your set, slowly bring the dumbbells back down, and I bring your feet up and try to rock yourself up. And that's your set. Another thing that you want to try to focus on is making sure that your forearms stay parallel to each other and they are actually perpendicular to the ground. So a good way to pay attention to that is, of course, just to film yourself. You can kind of see from this angle if you just take a second to pay attention. But what we want to try to avoid is having our forearms kind of cave in like this. You don't want anything like that happening, or they're going out like this. You know, keeping those forearms parallel to each other, perpendicular to the ground. That's another thing that we always want to prioritize during the dumbbell chest press here. So again, this is the angle if we're flaring, right? Yes, our forearms are perpendicular to the ground, but you know, again, we're flaring our elbows. Doesn't always feel the greatest in that position. So instead, tuck those elbows in and make sure that you're keeping those forearms parallel to one another.